welcome to this video. If you're a new viewer, my name is Alberto, and today, as you can see in the title, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the zones of regulation. So before I even start this video, I just want to share and give credit to the creator, the founder of the zones of regulation concept, Leah Kuypers, and all of the people that work at the zones of regulation, the staff, and all the resources, tools, different types of help and assistance even that they can provide for you at their website. And I'm just happy because I want to do another video on this concept. I love this concept. I feel like the zones of regulation, it really helps families to build awareness with emotions, with respect and care, compassion, all these different types of understandings with being in the zone in your environment. So if you're new, it pretty much just means that your zone, your typical environment where you live at every day, there could be times where one person might make you feel a certain type of way, and this actually helps you to skillfully be able to address and respond to a challenge, a situation. And there doesn't even have to be a situation, because today's video, as you see in the title, we're going to talk about tools, practices to experience when you're feeling a certain emotion within every zone. So even if you feel happy and calm in the green zone, like I do, then you could even have the tools and practices to actually put in place for yourself or your child. And I think that's amazing. And if you want to know more about the zones of regulations, I actually put together a presentation in my other video about that, just like an introductory of the concept if it's new for you and you're interested in helping your child with behaviors or children, if you're a caretaker, a grandparent, or if you have even a lot of kids, it could be anything. But it really helps with that. And I'll even put that in my end screen. At the end of this video, it'll pop up. You can tap it, or you can visit my channel. Now with the green zone, I really like how they have, a tool to practice, because the way I took it is that when you're happy, you usually do what you want. Your child usually does what they want. And especially if you're like a tired parent, right? But it's also cool to actually like assign a task in place as a practice to do when you see your child more happier, when you see them more calm than usually, because it also doesn't let you respond to your child when there's only like a problematic, behavior or challenging situation, an accident or anything. So that's the way I took it. And what they have is to make contact if your child's comfortable with contact or person, to give them a hug and to be affectionate with them. So it can even be vocally, you could just let them know, hey, I really care about you. I'm so happy that you're feeling happy today. I'm so happy that you're calm, you're relaxed, and try to keep it simple. That way, nothing could deter them from feeling that, mood in that zone, in the green zone. And they also have to do an activity. So, you could have your child read. That person or persons could actually read something. If they can't read yet and they're too young, you could have them just do an activity, a craft or something, just giving them something extra also, as I said, to build that connection emotionally, and actually have a nice response instead of always being the problem parent and they'll see you like that. And I like to start next with the yellow zone. So with the yellow zone, we have frustrated or silly. And with that, they have to actually do nice deep breathing. So I do breath work, and I love this because I've been doing this to my sons without actually knowing that the people of the zones of regulation have it there, that when you're actually anxious or frustrated, or your child, if they have a disorder that causes them to get an overstimuli of energy, they have that tool of practice as a practice in place. That is so great, because I've been helping that with my kids, just saying, oh, you need a little bit of a break from this. Let's just do nice deep breathing. And it's so awesome, because just with me being trained on that, doing conscious breathing, deep breathing to your core, belly breaths, just filling yourself up with air and breathing out. You're literally just making your healthy hormones release, and you're literally like making the tension and this, edgy, tense behavior loosen up. So air itself heals. It does that magic. And I'm so happy that they're aware of that. And also for the yellow zone, if they're also frustrated or silly, you can also talk to them or have them talk to an adult. So have a caretaker in place when they're frustrated. And that's kind of hard because everybody's solutions are different. So what I will say, just for the sake of the video, because I'm not a professional, again, the credit of the zones of regulation goes to Leah Kuypers and everyone associated with that organization. But as an opinion, just to vlog about it, what I will say is that I feel like just keeping it simple, especially if they're a child, and just kind of coach them to say, what's making you really frustrated. Kind of not let them identify with whatever that challenge is, and kind of help them to do deep breathing and relax, and try to help them to look at the pros and to look at what can they do now. As I always say in a lot of my videos, what can they do at that moment to actually get them to feel more calm and happy in the green zone. So for next, let's do the blue zone, because I feel like the red is like at the end of the spectrum of the zones of regulation. So for the blue, it's usually when you're sad, you have low energy, you're tired, as I say in my other video. But it gives me goosebumps, because just yesterday, one of my sons had an accident. They did kind of like a behavior they did when they were younger, by not being able to speak up and tell us that they were feeling a certain way. So it had all of us stressed and kind of frustrated, because he's at the age where he shouldn't put his body through that stress and his mind through that stress. Could have been easy if he could have told us, so I like really helped him, because I didn't want him to be sad and be crippled, literally hunched over with shame. And I just told him that it'll be beautiful if he has an inner coach and he starts thinking, be nicer to yourself. Now, when you make a mistake or you don't know something, or if it's even hard for you to admit that, because he struggles with that, think in your mind, it's not bad to not know something. I have to talk. I have to ask for help. And, having an inner coach for a child, that's why I mentioned emotional intelligence earlier, because I just love how they have the inner coach as a tool if they're feeling sad or lethargy or just tired and just out of it, because that's such a powerful tool for a child. If you don't have emotional intelligence, just being more aware of what you're feeling, self-talking to yourself, really not being hard on yourself, having the hard critic just go hard. For people that are religious, the devil's a lie, right? That's just that hard critic that just likes to just nab and jab with your flaws or insecurities or whatever it is. When a child goes through that, they identify as that. And that leads to just a lot of challenges and a lot of behavior patterns that the brain gets wired to. So it's hard to kind of break that. And if a child learns literally how to have an inner coach, and especially if it comes from the advice of the caretaker, if you're watching this video, or if you're a parent, or legal guardian that's like wanting to make a world better place with the newer generation, they're gonna think about you as that example, and they're gonna say, he or she or they would tell me this, you know? So the inner coach thing is beautiful. I also have a video about the emotional intelligence. I actually did a Convo podcast stream, and that was like the early start of my YouTube with a great friend of mine that she had a lot of experience dealing with children and families with hardships. Mia Divine, shout out to Mia Divine. Um, but yeah, like I just was so grateful for her to just join my platform because I love just emotional intelligence. That will make our world so much better. So for next, they also have jumping jacks, and I think I could keep that one simple. That doesn't go deep. I think you literally want to get them moving. So it doesn't have to be jumping jacks if you live in an apartment. We have an exercise ball and we also have a trampoline. Even though we live in an apartment, it doesn't cause noise from jumping. So we invested in our sons for that. Um, but any type of movement, if your child's into like boxing or something, and they can shadow box, or maybe like an aerobic to get fit, maybe you want to take them out for a scooter ride or just a run, whatever it is, get them moving. And finally, we have the red zone. And that's usually for when you're angry or mad. I also have the identifiers, like I said in my other presentation video. So there's like more than just angry and sad, but that's the main two. So the tool for that, a strategy, is to take a break, to literally unplug. And I think that's great. We got this for my sons. I mean, I've worked hard to try to just get and buy these things to have their home like a sanctuary, but we got Harry the Hedgehog. So you could go to websites and find different sensory toys. We have that, we have this, a nice little stress ball. It has different textures. We got one of sand. I don't know if the mic could hear that, but little ASMR. So something like this, I touched onto that with my parental tips, especially tailored to children with autism spectrum disorder. You're gonna be faced with meltdowns. Your child is gonna be due to have meltdowns, especially depending on what area of the spectrum they're in, and they're not like medicated. If you treat them to not have them medicated, but they're bound to have a meltdown or at least get overstimulated and have some frustration, some anger there. This is what we do. We keep this limited for quiet time. And in that video, it's a presentation. It's a Christmas one, Christmas themed, because I uploaded at that time. And I showed sensory toys and I explained all that limited play goes a long way. But other than taking a break and just giving them a secluded environment, relax and breathe, maybe listen to music and headphones, whatever. We have pushing, heavy work. So heavy work, it's like beautiful because you're skillfully applying for your child to get a tool to actually let aggression out, to actually appropriately let out this aggression, this anger, this frustration that just makes them want to just bash something. Now, back, if he was born like in the 80s, the 90s, you didn't learn that. So I've broken some stuff. I'm sure if you're a parent, you've broken some stuff. But learning these things is good because at least at this point, if you have children, you kind of want to build awareness and evolve as human, and not just evolve technologically. So heavy work is great. It also improves with muscle tone. It improves with your joints, your muscles, obviously, your bones. It improves for your child to actually be like having awareness with their body, to be like conscious with their body, to be able to actually know when they're upset, they need to like grab a pillow, and they need to like just bash it around. My sons, you know, being that they're in the spectrum, they love like just this like chaotic exploding or throwing or crashing. They love that. They just get a thrill off of that. It's their favorite thing. And it's not always appropriate, right? So even then, they've learned to have a certain level of play with that. So I'm only sharing a lot of these different examples because I know each child is different, and maybe, you know, a little tip I'm giving you, a little bit of shared experience I'm giving you could go a long way. Maybe it could help you give more, you know, get more insight out of my experience. What I will say though is when it comes to that, there are different therapy facilities for that. So you have like occupational therapy that really works on motor skills. It really works on a developmental plan for the child. I believe it's mostly catered to children that have disabilities. But you know, if there is any kind of behavioral challenge, maybe it'll apply for you. And what I will say is to limit. So every child's different. So limit the amount of time they're doing heavy work. So if your child's angry a lot, it's not gonna always be a solution for them to pick up a heavy bin or push something heavy or pull something heavy because you know they're gonna wear down their body. So I only mention that because it might be obvious for you watching, but not obvious for another viewer, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's pretty much everything I have for the tools of, you know, the zones, where your emotions are, what to do in those zones. And as I said, even in the green zone, the people of the zones of regulation, they even have tools for that, which is so amazing. And I'm so happy for them because my boys, they cling on to the zones of regulations almost every day. And it's helped my family so much from just, you know, complications, frustrations, and even being more conscious to for each other emotionally. You know, our relationships have grown stronger thanks to the zones of regulation. So huge thank you for me. And if you're watching and you know your family has helped you too, then I'm sure you're happy with them too. But yes, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's helped you. Please you know, sub if you're new. And I'm planning to do more stuff with children and more streams of podcast episodes and everything. I'm getting a lot in the works, so I've been very busy filming this, and it's 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday. So yeah, like I'm really motivated and driven to make a world a better place and bring more awareness to these things. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I send you love, take care, and bye.